So hey guys, it's Zyant again, and you are in fact watching Battlefield 4. This is the one gameplay I had on my hard drive, and it's the one gameplay I wanted to use to talk about something very specific, informed partly by my Titanfall decline video. But I'm going to make a Titanfall footage video about that, but what I want to talk about today is skill in shooters. And I know you're thinking to yourself, skill? He's playing domination with a P90, he has no skill. Well, as usual, I'm using the gameplay only as a backdrop, and because Battlefield, for the most part, at least in the past, has required a little bit more skill, I think, than Titanfall does. And then, of course, there's games like Counter-Strike that require more skill than Battlefield. And so I want to talk about some of the factors that I think make up skill in a shooter game. And unfortunately, I can't break these down into one-word descriptions because, for me, skill is not a one-word thing. It's something that's defined by multiple ideas and concepts, and so I want to go over some of those with you today. The first and most commonly cited thing about Titanfall that people don't like is that it has no depth of gunplay. The guns have almost no recoil, there's no spread on the bullets, and unlike in Counter-Strike, we don't have an aim-down sight. There's no real reason to learn the recoil pattern when you can hold down the trigger and kill someone from almost any distance. Now, I will say the guns do have some recoil, but it's not enough, I think, to really be appreciable, especially when you consider a game like Battlefield and especially like Counter-Strike, where recoil becomes a very significant factor. And so what do I mean by the depth of gunplay? Again, it's the recoil pattern, the spread pattern, and trigger control. A game like Titanfall, where the guns kill very quickly and they're very easy to use, there's not a lot of depth of gunplay. A game like Battlefield has more depth, simply because it takes more effort, sometimes, I'm not going to quite say skill, but more effort and application of focus to use the guns precisely. Now, of course, I am using the P90, which is a hipfire monster, and fairly good aim down sight as well, and again, I am playing domination, so the engagements are mostly close quarters. Then, of course, you have a gun like the SAR-21 or the AUG A3. These guns are built for accurate fire. They don't shoot very fast, but they are accurate. And so you have to apply a certain amount of focus and concentration to use them at a medium to long range, even more so in close quarters, which brings me to my next point, map knowledge, but more specifically, the knowledge of map flow. In a game like Titanfall, where it's very much kill person, get in Titan, run around in Titan, Titan blows up, kill more people, get Titan again, run around map, rinse, repeat over and over again. I think that part of the reason that people don't like the flow of Titanfall is because there's really not that much to do. In a game like Battlefield, say, there's destruction. The map is constantly changing, and there is no one match where everything stays the same. By a similar token, in Counter-Strike, it's not so much that the maps change, because in over 10 years, they really haven't. Now, Valve has been updating the Counter-Strike maps with the community feedback, but the change is not so much in the map itself, but in how players choose to play the map. I've been watching a lot of competitive Counter-Strike, and every single high-level team plays these maps that they have been playing for 10 and more years. They play them differently. Certain teams like Virtus Pro play with a very casual, very wait-and-see approach, where teams like Ninjas in Pajamas or Na'Vi or Dignitas play a much more aggressive, much more in-your-face style. And so the map flow changes because of the players that are playing it, not because the map itself shifts. But I will say that even though some maps are 10 years old, I will use Nuke as an example, players are still learning how to play maps differently. Because maps are terrorist or counter-terrorist sided, teams have to learn that, okay, if I take this route, I'm not going to be successful, but maybe if I try this, I can do something different. Which brings me to my next point, that the game rewards intelligent, well-thought-out play and not just random, spastic, running around the map like a chicken with your head cut off play. Titanfall can offer both. But because of its focus on no camping, non-stop action, instant action play, get out there and shoot things, don't worry about sitting in one place for too long, you're more likely to just run around the map like a chicken with your head cut off. Where in something like Battlefield, you can take it slower, because sometimes the map needs you to take it slower. And part of that is a function of the game modes. Attrition, Hardpoint, Pilot Hunter, these are game modes that reward random, fast, crazy, stupid play. Now I will say right now that just because you're playing aggressively does not mean you're not playing smart. Jimmy the Snake plays fast, he plays crazy, but he's always playing smart. Indeed, the best players, when they need to, can go fast. It comes down to a matter of application. A team like Virtus Pro, or Dignitas, or Na'Vi, or Ninjas in Pajamas, they understand that just because they're playing on a small map where speed can be rewarded doesn't mean it will be, because again, these maps are so old that people know exactly what they're doing, and that comes down to map knowledge and the knowledge of map flow, and therefore team flow. And another way of saying team flow is movement and sound. Titanfall is not so focused on the sound whore. Battlefield isn't either, but Counter-Strike is. But it's not just sound, because at the highest levels everyone's not making any sound because they're walking around the map. It's about knowing how teams move throughout the map that really matters. In a game like Titanfall, just because you know where the other team is doesn't mean you have to act on that, because most times there's not really incentive to act on that knowledge when you know you can run about 5 feet and see someone else to shoot. In Battlefield, just because you know how the map is going does not mean that you will turn 5 feet to your left and there will be 3 people looking at you. The flank is important. And that of course comes down to intelligent play, understanding your enemies and understanding where your teammates are in the scheme of things. So to wrap up, I would say that skill in a shooter is a very multifaceted and sometimes hard to define concept. And while I think that Titanfall sometimes captures it, there are times as well where it fails on the precedent set by previous games that we all know and love. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.